And when I talk about character structure, there's one for each developmental stage. And if you guys look at your program, starting next month, you're going to be starting with the first stage, which is like about 0 to 6 months. But a lot of this is about our environment. And so that's the part I'm going to talk about today. So there's a need, just a natural need. So it could be the need to be loved, the need to exist, the impulse that I exist, the impulse to need nurturing, whatever, there's just an impulse that comes up. And so what happens is we're going along and we're making this impulse, and all of a sudden we hit something. And this is the environment, where the environment goes, oh, no, you don't. So this is the no that we get, okay? So then what happens is that comes up, so then we circle around. So it's like we're too young to protest, we don't have the coping skills, and so what happens is we turn that against ourselves, so it comes back onto us. And down here is what we do in our body. And each character structure has its own set of contractions that occur. And this comes from what Lowen and Reich observed. So there'll be certain things that will happen in the body, with the eyes, with the shoulders, with the stomach, with the legs, with the feet. All those sort of different contractions will occur. So this is the soma, and then this is the psyche. So this is what becomes our adaptation.
To the environmental?
To the environmental, no. To the negativity in the environment. So environment says no. So what we do is we go in and we start denying that need. We start to deny it. So we'll say, I'll live in my head, I won't feel my body. Or I'll close off my heart. I'll become very intellectual. That's what I'll do. That's how I'll survive in the world. I'll become very intellectual. I'll disconnect from my body, because when it happens at that particular age, it's overwhelming. The belief system of what we have to do and what we have to start believing about the world, about ourselves, to survive in this environment. And so then what happens as an adult, I mentioned how we then go through the world thinking that's how we have to be, and we're terrified to break through those chronic holding patterns, because they've become unconscious, and we just think, well, that's just the way it is. It becomes too painful to continue to reach and not have that need or that impulse met. And so what we do is we start to constrict those muscles, the reaching muscles. So we start to constrict back here so that we no longer have the impulse to reach, because it's too painful and overwhelming to continue to try to have that need met and not have it met. So we begin to contract, then it goes unconscious, and we don't even know that we're contracted there. We don't feel it. So in bioenergetic work, we work not only with the beliefs of, well, I don't need anything, and then what happens is, but they've cut off that need or that ability to reach out for help. And they think that they have to do it all themselves. And that's how this childhood, the adaptation and what's happened in the body is manifest and then carries out into their adult life. And so what we do is we work with not only the beliefs, but we also work with the contractions in the body, and we have to bring them into awareness. But if you've ever been somewhere where your hands get really cold and you get, your fingers start to go numb, and then you come inside and you're warming them, and maybe you put them under warm water or you do something to warm your hands, and it hurts as the blood flow and the energy comes back into the fingers or the toes, it's painful. Well, it's the same thing with a chronic muscle that's been chronically tense. When the energy and the movement can come back in, sometimes you can feel like you've been run over by a Mack truck, like you've had a really good physical workout. And it's really just because the blood flow and the energy is starting to come back into those muscles. So we work with what those muscle tensions are telling us. And then also, as those muscles begin to melt, we have to go back and look at what was the original emotion or event that caused us to contract that we can now face, because now we do have better coping skills. Now we do have the support system. Now we do have a relationship where we can express those emotions in an environment that's going to be safe and can be met and can be digested by the therapist so that they then can be worked through. Does that make sense?